Good morning, dear 10th children. Now, I have almost reached the end of the chapter. This is the last part of development. I have left out the only last part, that is sustainable development. What is sustainable development? The word is not new to you. Sustainable and development. Now, without compromising the needs of the future, conserving for the future would be called as sustainable development. We'll go one by one. Now, sustainable development in the chapter is taken into account with two things. One is groundwater and one is crude oil. Now, it's a very famous line you can see here. We have not inherited the world from our forefathers, we have borrowed it from our children. Said by who? If you know the answer, you can put your answer down in the comment box. We'll begin with example one for sustainable development. Remember, sustainable development is development or conserving resources without compromising the needs of the future. So we'll begin. Now, recent evidence suggests that the groundwater in India is under a serious threat because of the overuse in many parts of the country. Nearly 300 districts have reported a water level decline. Why there is a use of water? Yeah, largely because of agriculture. Second reason, factory, right? These two reasons are very important to actually have the water table down. Now, nearly one third of the country is overusing their groundwater reserves. In another 25 years, 60% of the country would be doing the same if the present way to use these resources continues. Now, we wouldn't have any groundwater. The groundwater overuse is particularly found in agriculturally prosperous regions of Punjab and Western UP, Punjab, Haryana, and Western UP, where abundant of water is found in Punjab and Haryana because of the canals that are found, but still they have a lot of problem with the water table. And Western UP, where hard rock plateau areas of central and south India also face the same problem of the water table. Some coastal areas and the rapidly growing urban settlements, yeah, remember Chennai also has the same problem, right? They do not have fresh drinking water. Now, there are two questions here: why groundwater is overused, and can there be a development without overuse? Now, the first one, why groundwater is overused, I told you already. It's because of agriculture. Now, largely Indian agriculture is based on the monsoon, and the monsoon is not timely, cannot depend on monsoon entirely. So you need to at least produce or harvest three crops in a year. So how do you do that? You have to depend on artificial supply of water. You have to depend on the groundwater. Can there be development without the overuse? This question is a little diplomatic in nature, because this is what may be development for one is not development for another one. That would be the answer. Can there be development without overuse? Yes, it is. The judicious use of water can always be possible, given that everybody knows about it, right? Now, the question here is 5 mark question. The question is, what is sustainable development, and explain the sustainable development with any two issues in India. So you're going to take the first issue as the groundwater, and you're going to write exactly where it has problem. I told you it's Punjab, Western UP. Now, these are some newspaper reports. I got it from the internet. I'll just want to shed the light on the newspaper reports. Now, just see here. This is groundwater extraction 70% faster than estimated earlier, and 300 cubic kilometer groundwater lost in 6 years. First one. No clarity on how much groundwater is left. Delhi needs 1 cubic kilometer water a year, likely to be worst affected. Ground and surface water add up to level utilizable water. Niti Aayog has warned that Delhi could run out of groundwater by 2020. Which year, guys? This is this year, 2020. Now it's given here also 1 cubic kilometer is 1 trillion liter. Now look at another one, groundwater situation in India. Annual replenishable groundwater resources is 433 billion cubic meter. In that, this much is used for irrigation for domestic and industrial purposes. You can see here largely for irrigation it is used. Now, what is this showing? You'll come back to a map here. You'll see a map here, right? Okay, it's my picture you are seeing here. There is a map here where it shows the northwest Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, western UP are the places where the water table is going down rapidly, right? It includes the southern states also, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh also are worst affected. Now, the second one would be about the crude oil. Now, this part is very easy. I have already covered the maximum part. The second one is crude oil. The table gives an estimate of reserves of crude oil. Look at this crude oil reserve. Now, you might be wondering about the crude oil now because of the corona lockdown, corona outbreak. The crude oil price is ever low. You'll see the column here. Now, reserves in billion tons. Look at the Middle East, the US, and number of years reserves will last. So we don't have much, do we? We don't have much of crude oil reserve. We have to find alternative sources of energy. That's why now all the vehicles are moving out for electronic, right? They are EV, electronic vehicle. Government is subsidizing them. The car manufacturers are coming up with a new electric variant of the car. The bike manufacturers, the scooter manufacturers are coming up with a electricity variant. So more important, it also tells us for how many years the stock of crude oil will last if people continue to extract it at the present rate. Now, if your basic things, if you do not know, the crude oil is obviously used for petroleum products. That's where it comes in. So if we do not have the reserve of crude oil, we will be having problems for petroleum later if our vehicle runs on petrol and diesel. The reserves would last only 43 years more. That's what the survey says. Now it would be very less also. This is for the world as a whole. However, different countries face different situations. Obviously, we do not have large oil reserves. We have it in Mumbai. We have it in Assam, Digboy and Nahar Katia, and we have it in Mumbai and Basin, Ankaleshwar in Gujarat. Very few we have, and Reliance is also having it. Reliance extracts oil from the sea. You might have heard about that one. We have ONGC, we have MRPL very nearby working on the oil. If prices of oil increase, this becomes a burden for everyone. There are countries like USA which have low reserves and hence want to secure oil through military or economic power. Isn't why that the war happened, the Iraqi war, the US-Iraq war happened largely because of the oil reserves. Saddam Hussein want to control the oil reserves of the world. You might have heard about their company called Shell. Yeah, you're very familiar with that one. Now, we do not have, so we import it from Middle East, Iran. Now, during this time where the countries are just locked, it is impossible to do trade. So now, because nobody is importing and no vehicles are running, we are saving some of crude oil. Crude oil prices have gone down. You always read in the paper that the crude oil price is for barrel. It is going for so many dollars. It's coming down. Impacts on rupee dollar price. Sometimes the petrol price for 1 liter is 87 rupees. Now might be 77 or 76. Now, the question of sustainability of development raises many fundamentally new issues about the nature and process of development. For example, is crude oil essential for the development process in a country? Not necessarily, guys. If you are a science geek, if you know about science, you would know that it's not only crude oil. We run on other energy sources. maybe in future we will be running on the nuclear energy sources. So not exactly crude oil, but crude oil is the basic one. India has to import crude oil. What problems do you anticipate for the country looking at the above situation? Yeah, I told you what would be the problem. The price is a big problem, because crude oil price should be given in dollars, and our money rupee always gets less value compared to the dollar. We have to give more dollars, or we have to spend extra dollars on purchase of every barrel. So that automatically increases the price of the petrol and diesel. In turn, the increase of gas, LPG, obviously, in turn increase of some other petroleum related products. So country, a developing country like India, simply cannot afford this price rise. So guys, only these two issues are very important. I have come to the last part. This is obviously not there in the textbook. I wanted to just show you that what is sustainable development and how are we committed to actually make it happen. Now look at this. It's a sustainable development, the United Nations. All the countries will gather for a summit, and they have decided that there will be some 17 goals to transform our world. These are the sustainable goals for the future. Now I'm just checking whether all these things have been achieved. No poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, right? Equality between men and women, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, maybe wealth, sustainable cities and communities, responsible and consumption and production, climate action, probably the most affected one, life below water, the marine life, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions, partnership for the goals. These are 17 sustainable goals which all the countries have prepared for the future. Now, I will leave, I will not comment on whether they have been successful in tackling those. I will not comment, I will leave it to you, my young learners. You would have absolutely an idea whether they have been done, they have been achieved. Now, feel free to comment down in the comment box. What do you think about these sustainable development goals? Are they being achieved? Are we on the way to achieve them? So, this brings to the end of the chapter. Now, after this video, I will be live in the YouTube. So I will come back in the YouTube live to explain the whole chapter and to discuss some of the questions, important questions from the beginning to the end. So till the YouTube live, I would say see you guys, and take care.